My fiancée wanted to invite him to our wedding. For closure, she said. I need to see him one last time. The planner dropped her pen. I smiled. Closure is important. I moved the wedding date up by 2 months. I sent his invitation to his current girlfriend's address. And the silence after that said everything. I'm 33, been engaged for 6 months, and I just learned that some people confuse closure with keeping doors open. We'd been together for 3 years, met through work. She was smart, driven, had this way of making everything feel exciting. We clicked, moved in together after a year. I proposed on our 3rd anniversary at the restaurant where we had our first date. She said yes, posted it everywhere, started planning immediately, called her mother crying with happiness, showed the ring to everyone we knew. Her ex was someone she'd dated for 4 years. They broke up 2 years before we met. She told me he was her first serious relationship, that it ended badly, that he cheated, that they hadn't spoken since. I believed her, never questioned it, never thought to look deeper into a story that seemed straightforward. 3 months into our engagement, we met with our wedding planner, going over guest lists, seating arrangements, all the details that make weddings complicated. My fiancée had been quiet during the meeting, distracted, checking her phone repeatedly, not engaged with the conversation about centerpieces and table assignments. On the drive home, she brought it up. I've been thinking about the guest list. Okay, what about it? I want to invite someone I haven't seen in a while. Who? She paused, looked out the window. My ex, the one I dated before you. I kept my eyes on the road, gripped the steering wheel tighter. Why would you invite your ex to our wedding? For closure. I need to see him one last time, to prove to myself that I'm over him, that I'm making the right choice. You need to prove you're over him by inviting him to our wedding? I know it sounds weird, but I never got proper closure. He just ended things, moved on immediately. I need to see him there, to see that I've moved on, that I chose someone better, that I won. Won? This isn't a competition. I know, but it feels like one sometimes. He moved on so easily, found someone new within weeks. I need him to see that I'm happy, that I ended up okay. If you're not over him, maybe we shouldn't be getting married. I am over him. I just need this. Please, it's important to me. I've been thinking about it for weeks. I didn't respond, just drove, thinking about what she'd just said, about needing to see her ex at our wedding, about needing closure from a relationship that ended 5 years ago, about proving something to someone who apparently didn't matter anymore. We got home, she went to bed, I stayed up, thinking, processing, then I started digging. Social media first. Found him easily. Public profiles, lots of photos, including photos with a girlfriend, recent photos. They looked happy, tagged locations, coffee shops, restaurants, weekend trips, her apartment based on the backgrounds. They'd been together about a year based on the post history. Then I found something interesting. Posts from 2 months ago. My fiancé had liked them. Not just one. Multiple posts. Going back weeks. She'd been following his life, watching what he was doing, who he was with, keeping tabs on him while planning our wedding. I checked her phone while she was in the shower the next morning. I know. Invasion of privacy. But something felt wrong. Something about her request didn't sit right. Found messages. Not many, but enough. She'd reached out to him 3 weeks ago, asked how he was. He'd responded. They'd been talking. Nothing explicit. Just catching up. But she'd initiated it. While planning our wedding, while picking out flowers and choosing between chicken and fish for the reception. I didn't confront her. Not yet. Instead, I did something else. Something calculated. I called our wedding planner, told her we needed to move the date up. Originally set for June, I wanted April, 2 months earlier. A complete restructure of everything we'd planned. That's very short notice. We'd have to redo everything. Contact all the vendors again. Some might not be available. I know, but it's important. Family reasons. My grandfather's health is declining. I want him there. Doctor says he might not make it to June. I'm so sorry. Of course. Let me see what I can do. We'd have to redo everything. Rush fees. Some vendors might not be available on such short notice. I'll pay the difference, whatever it takes. Money isn't an issue. She made it work. Called vendors. Rescheduled everything. New date set, April 15th, 6 weeks away instead of 4 months. I told my fiancée that evening over dinner. We need to talk about the wedding. She looked up from her plate. What about it? We're moving the date up. What? Why? My grandfather's health is declining. I want him there. Doctor says he might not make it to June. We need to do it sooner. I'm sorry, of course. When? April 15th. That's in 6 weeks. I know. The planner's handling it. Everything's already rescheduled. She seemed overwhelmed, then relieved, like moving it up somehow made things easier. Less time to think, less time to doubt. Okay, if it's important to you, April is fine. Then I handled the invitation. Ordered one special, addressed to her ex. But I didn't send it to his address. I sent it to his girlfriend's address, the one I'd found on social media, made sure both their names were on the envelope. You're invited to celebrate the marriage of... with my fiancé's full name right there. Made it look official, formal, intentional, sent it certified mail, signature required, wanted to make sure it arrived, that someone saw it, that questions were asked, that things unraveled exactly how I predicted they would. 2 weeks later, my fiancé came home upset, walked in crying, makeup smeared. We need to talk. About what? He called me, today. He's angry, really angry. Who called you? My ex. Someone sent him a wedding invitation, to his girlfriend's address. She opened it, she's furious. Thinks he was talking to me behind her back, that we were planning something. Was he? What? No. I mean, we talked a few times, but nothing serious, just catching up. You talked to him while planning our wedding and didn't tell me. It was innocent. I was just reaching out, trying to make peace before the wedding, trying to be mature about everything. Or trying to keep him interested? That's not fair. You wanted to invite him to our wedding for closure. You've been liking his social media posts. You've been messaging him. And you think I'm being unfair? How did you know about the messages? Did you go through my phone? Does it matter? You lied to me. I didn't lie. I just didn't mention it. There's a difference. Same thing. A lie of omission is still a lie. She was crying now. Mascara running. Hands shaking. Who sent him that invitation? Did you do that? Did you deliberately send it to her address? I sent all the invitations, including his. You wanted him invited. I made sure he got it. Made sure everyone involved had all the information they needed. To his girlfriend's house? Why would you do that? Because if we're inviting him to our wedding, his girlfriend should probably know, don't you think? Seems like important information. You did this on purpose, to ruin things with them, to sabotage whatever friendship we were rebuilding. I did this because you asked me to invite your ex to our wedding while secretly messaging him. I just made sure everyone involved had all the information. Complete transparency. She left. Grabbed her purse, slammed the door, stayed at her sister's house, called me the next day. I'm not coming back until you apologize. For what? For sending that invitation to his girlfriend, for checking my phone without permission, for not trusting me, for ruining everything. I'm not apologizing for protecting myself. This is ridiculous. You're sabotaging my relationships. You're controlling. This is emotional abuse. Your relationship with your ex? Yeah, that was the point. That's exactly what I was sabotaging. She hung up. Blocked my number for 3 hours before unblocking and texting. We need to talk in person. Update 1. 3 days later, her sister called me. We'd always gotten along. She was reasonable, grounded, the stable one in their family. What actually happened? I need to hear your side. I told her. Everything. The request to invite the ex, The messages I'd found, the social media likes, the invitation I'd sent, every detail. She was quiet for a long moment. Then, she told me a different story. What story? That you're being controlling, that you went through her phone without permission, that you're trying to isolate her from her past, that you're manipulating the situation to make her look bad. Did she mention that she's been messaging her ex while planning our wedding? No, she left that part out, completely. Did she mention that she wanted him at our wedding for closure? She said she wanted to invite an old friend. Didn't say it was an ex, didn't say anything about closure. Made it sound like you were being unreasonable about a normal guest. She's rewriting the story. Yeah, I'm seeing that. Look, I love my sister, but this is weird. Wanting your ex at your wedding is weird. Messaging him without telling your fiancé is weird. All of it is weird. And now she's lying about what happened. Thank you. I thought I was going crazy. Everyone's been telling me I overreacted. You're not crazy. You're protecting yourself, which you should be. Do you still want to marry her? I don't know. Right now, no. Right now, I feel like I don't know who she is. That's fair. I'll talk to her. Try to get her to see this from your perspective. Try to get her to be honest about what she actually did. She tried, called me back 3 hours later. She's not listening. She's convinced she's the victim here, that you're the problem. My fiancé called me that night, voice cold, distant. I've been thinking about us, about the wedding, about everything. And I think we should postpone. Take some time, figure things out, go to counseling maybe. You mean cancel? No, just postpone until we're both in a better place, until we can trust each other again. We were in a good place until you decided you needed closure from your ex at our wedding. That's not fair. You're making this all about him. This is about you not trusting me, about you going through my phone, about you sabotaging my relationships. Because it is about him. You made it about him when you started messaging him, when you asked to invite him. This is entirely about him, and you're trying to make it about my reaction. I just wanted to move on properly, to close that chapter of my life in a healthy way. You moved on when you met me. When you said yes to my proposal, apparently that wasn't enough. Silence. Long silence. Then, maybe it wasn't. Those 3 words ended it. Maybe it wasn't. She'd just admitted that being with me, being engaged to me, planning a life with me, wasn't enough to feel moved on from someone who dumped her 5 years ago. Wasn't enough to fill whatever void he'd left. Then we're done, I said. What? We're done. I'm not marrying someone who's not sure if she's over her ex, who needs him at our wedding to feel complete, who messages him behind my back. We're done. You can't just end this. We've been together 3 years. We have a life together. I can, and I am, keep the ring, sell it, throw it away, whatever. I'll handle canceling the wedding. You're being irrational. You're throwing away 3 years over nothing. Over nothing? You wanted your ex at our wedding. That's not nothing. I hung up, blocked her number, started the process of canceling everything, called the planner, called the venue, called the caterer, lost deposits, paid cancellation fees, told family and friends the wedding was off, didn't explain details, just said we'd decided we weren't compatible, that we wanted different things. Update 2. Word got around fast. Mutual friends reached out. Some took her side, said I was controlling, that I'd sabotaged her, that sending the invitation to the girlfriend's house was cruel and manipulative, that I should have just talked to her about my concerns. Others took my side, said wanting your ex at your wedding was inappropriate, that messaging him without telling me was dishonest, that I'd dodged a bullet, that they'd always thought something was off about how much she talked about him. I didn't engage with any of it, just focused on untangling our lives. She'd moved most of her stuff out while staying at her sister's. I packed the rest, boxed up her clothes, her books, her decorations, left it at her sister's place, changed my locks, updated my passwords, removed her from bank accounts, from insurance policies, from everything. 2 weeks after I ended it, her ex's girlfriend reached out to me through social media, direct message, asked if we could talk. We met at a coffee shop. She was younger than I expected, mid-20s maybe, looked tired, dark circles under her eyes. "Thank you for meeting me." "Sure. What's going on?" "I wanted to thank you for sending that invitation, for letting me know what was happening." "Thank me?" "Yes." I had no idea he was talking to her. He told me they hadn't spoken in years, that she was ancient history, that she'd moved on and so had he. Then, that invitation shows up and I see they're getting married. Sorry, we're getting married. And I realize he's been lying to me for months. "What did he say when you asked him about it?" "He said she'd reached out of nowhere, that he was just being polite, that he didn't want to be rude. But I checked his phone after that. They'd been talking for weeks. Nothing inappropriate exactly, but constant. Daily messages. He was invested in whatever was happening. He was emotionally involved." "Did you break up with him?" "Yes, that day, right after I confronted him. I'm not staying with someone who's hung up on their ex, who lies about talking to them, who entertains getting invited to their wedding while dating me." "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to blow up your relationship." "Don't be sorry. You did me a favor. Better to know now than later. Better to know after a year than after marriage or kids." "What about him? How's he handling it?" "Not well. He blamed your fiancée. Said she manipulated him, that she was trying to make him jealous, trying to sabotage our relationship. Then he blamed you. Said you were controlling and insecure, that you couldn't handle her having male friends." "Sounds about right. Everyone's the victim, except the people who actually got hurt." "I thought you should know what they're saying, that they're painting you as the villain, making it seem like you're the problem." "Let them. I know the truth. That's enough." She left after an hour. I sat there thinking about how my fiancée and her ex were both rewriting history, both making themselves victims, both blaming me for exposing what they'd been doing, for not accepting their version of reality. Update 3. A month after the breakup, I saw her at a grocery store. She was with her sister, saw me from across the produce section and immediately looked away, pretended to be very interested in avocados. I kept shopping, grabbed what I needed, went to check out. She was in line ahead of me, couldn't avoid it without being obvious. "Hi." She turned, face flushed. "Hi. How are you?" "Fine. You?" "Good." Awkward silence. Her sister was watching us, looking uncomfortable, probably wondering if this would turn into a scene. "I heard you're telling people I sabotaged you," I said, calm, direct. "I'm not telling people anything. Your friends are, saying I was controlling, that I ruined your relationship with your ex, that I invaded your privacy. I never said that. But you didn't correct them either. You let them believe that version." She didn't respond, just stared at the floor. "For what it's worth, I hope you get your closure, whatever that means. I hope it's everything you wanted." I left. Didn't wait for a response. Didn't need one. Said what I needed to say. Left it there. Update 4. 3 months post-breakup, I heard through mutual friends that she'd reached out to her ex again, that they'd met for coffee, that it went badly. He'd told her he wasn't interested, that she'd made things complicated, that he'd moved on and she should too, that whatever fantasy she'd built up in her head wasn't reality. Apparently she was devastated, told friends she'd made a mistake, that she should have married me, that I was stable and reliable and she'd thrown it away for a fantasy, for closure that didn't exist. Her sister called me. I'd unblocked her after a few weeks, figured the drama was over. "She wants to talk to you. She's really struggling." "No." "She realizes she made a mistake, that she wasn't ready, that she took you for granted. That's not my problem anymore. She loves you. She says she's never stopped loving you." "No, she doesn't. She loves the idea of me, the stability, the security. But she doesn't love me. If she did, she wouldn't have needed to see her ex at our wedding. She was confused. She's young. She didn't know what she wanted. She was selfish. There's a difference. And she's not that young. She's 31, old enough to know better. Will you at least talk to her? Give her a chance to explain? To apologize? No, I've moved on. She should too. Tell her I wish her well, but I'm not interested in revisiting this. I hung up. Blocked her sister's number again. Didn't need the guilt trips. Didn't need the drama. Didn't need any of it. Final update. It's been 6 months since I ended the engagement. 6 months since I sent that invitation to the girlfriend's address. 6 months since everything fell apart exactly how I planned it. My ex-fiancée is single. Still living with her sister. Still working the same job. Mutual friends say she's miserable. That she talks about me constantly. About how she messed up. How she wishes she could fix things. How she'd do anything for another chance. I don't care. Sounds harsh. But it's true. I spent 3 years building a relationship with someone who was still emotionally attached to someone else, who needed closure from a 5-year-old breakup, who couldn't commit to me without seeing him one last time, who wanted to prove something to someone who didn't care. The wedding planner reached out a few weeks ago, returned part of my deposit, said she felt bad about how things went, that in 20 years of planning weddings, she'd never seen someone request their ex be invited for closure. That's when I knew, she said. When she said that, when I dropped my pen, I knew something was wrong. You could tell? Absolutely. Who does that? Who asks their fiancé to invite their ex to their wedding? For closure. That's not closure. That's keeping doors open. Exactly. I'm dating someone new now. Met her 2 months ago through friends. She's different, grounded, no ex-boyfriend drama, no need for closure, just present, here. With me. Living in the moment instead of the past. We're taking it slow, no rushing into anything, learning from past mistakes, making sure we're both actually ready before making any commitments, being honest about our pasts without being tied to them. When I told her about my ex-fiancé, about the wedding invitation, about all of it, she laughed, not meanly, just incredulous. She wanted her ex at your wedding? For closure. That's insane. You know that's insane, right? I do now. Took me a while to see it clearly. Good, because if I ever ask you to invite my ex to our wedding, you have permission to run. Fast. Deal. Moving the wedding date up was strategic. It forced everything to accelerate. Forced her to face reality sooner. Forced the situation with her ex to blow up before we got married instead of after. Before there were legal complications. Before there were kids or shared mortgages or deeper entanglements. Sending the invitation to his girlfriend's address was calculated. I knew exactly what would happen. Knew she'd open it. Knew she'd ask questions. Knew it would expose everything that had been happening in the shadows, all the messages, all the emotional investment, all the lies. Some people call it petty. Say I should have just called off the wedding and moved on. But I needed everyone to see what was happening. Needed her ex's girlfriend to know he was still in contact with his ex. Needed my fiancée to face consequences for her choices. Needed the truth to come out in a way that couldn't be denied or rewritten. The silence after that invitation arrived said everything. My fiancée's panic, her ex's anger, his girlfriend's discovery, all of it confirmed what I'd suspected. That something was happening that shouldn't have been. That closure was just an excuse for staying connected. For keeping options open. I'm 33. Single again. Wiser. More careful. Less trusting maybe. But that's not necessarily bad. Trust should be earned. Closure should come from within, not from inviting your ex to watch you marry someone else. Not from needing validation from someone who hurt you years ago. Some people never get over their first love, never fully move on, keep them in their lives in small ways, through messages, through social media, through requests that seem innocent but aren't, through elaborate schemes disguised as healing. My ex-fiancée was one of those people, and I'm grateful I found out before the wedding, before we had kids, before I invested more years into someone who was always looking backward instead of forward, before I became another chapter in her ongoing story about the one who got away. The planner dropped her pen because she recognized something I hadn't seen yet, that this wasn't normal, that this was a red flag wrapped in the language of healing, that you don't invite your ex to your wedding unless some part of you still wants them there for reasons that have nothing to do with closure. And when I said closure was important, I meant it. Just not the kind she was looking for. I meant the kind where you end something cleanly, where you don't drag your past into your future, where you let people go instead of keeping them on the periphery of your life, where you choose your present over your past. She wanted him at our wedding to prove she'd moved on. I sent the invitation to prove she hadn't. And the silence after that, the panic and the fallout and the truth that came spilling out, proved I was right. Proved that closure was never the goal. Proved that she was still tied to something she claimed to be over. And proved that I made the right choice walking away from someone who could never fully walk toward me.